Good morning, everyone. This is Jrcorpio with Just Real Solution Leaders, and I thought we'd change the scenery a little bit. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. We've got some great weather. We're not typically in the 70s or even 80s, so this is great weather for us. So I think it's also a great place to talk about our topic today in self-awareness. The last couple of weeks we have been talking about finding your passion, and as I was brainstorming for a topic for this week, it kind of dawned on me that how does one find their passion if they don't have self-awareness? So what is self-awareness? Instead of defining this for you, because let's be honest, you've got Google for that, I'm going to define this by asking you a question. If someone were to ask you in a few sentences who you are, would you be able to answer that truthfully and honestly? This is a question that, regardless of whether someone is willing to admit it or not, they likely struggle with. Studies have shown that only 10 to 15% of individuals truly know who they are and can answer this question honestly. And quite frankly, I think even that percentage is way too high. For example, how many of you have lied or fluffed up your resume? It's okay. You can raise your hand. No one's watching you. I have. And, it's something that can give us an edge, but does that make it right? And why do we do this? From a young age, we are influenced by others, starting with our parents, and as we grow, our families, our friends, and unfortunately for adolescents today, they're highly influenced by social media. Now, I'm not saying that all these things are bad, but for the purpose of this episode, I will be focusing on more of the negative concepts of these. We have two extremes. We have one side that people post that it's just good things happen in their lives, given the representation that their lives are perfect. On the other hand, you've got individuals that post nothing but negativity in their lives and bad news. As a growing adolescent, I'm sure you can see how these things make learning and growing very confusing for them. There's not just good and bad in the world, but there's everything in between. Like the beautiful couple that took the Instagram photo of them hugging and kissing, but what they didn't tell you is how they got in a fight moments before about how they hang the toilet paper in the bathroom. Now I know that's a silly example, but every one of you is chuckling right now because you know it's the truth. Think back to when you were a teenager. How many of you look back at your high school photos and think, what was I thinking? I know I do. Physically and mentally, we were all trying to fit in, going along with any style, trend, fad that was going on at the time. I can think back specifically as a teen, how my dad used to joke about how I used to change my presentation and even my walk as I stepped out of his car. He said I was always trying to act too cool, which of course at the time I thought I was. I imagine that it looked something like this. But all joking aside, my dad's always big point was to humble myself. So now fast forward, being on your own, paying your own way, what changes? We start to develop our own sense of style, whether it be because it's our own choice or because it's all we can afford. And as we develop and grow as a person, we start changing mentally and physically, and we slowly start to define who we are. For some individuals, insecurities kind of tend to just wash away, but for others, they get deeper. Being a parent changes your entire life. You literally watch life develop. At around age 1 to 2, children start to develop their own little personality. I think that this phase right here can be defined as our true nature. My family often tell me that there is no doubt that he is my son. He is quirky, stubborn, loud, funny, dramatic, and fearless. But something changed as life went on, and not just in life, but in me. I cared so much about what people thought of me because society said that I should. I was often told to be quiet in class, because I was loud and the class clown when I was in elementary. As a male, I was told not to cry. I was told to be tough, and I was told not to let my feelings get the best of me. All these influences made me somebody that I wasn't. Luckily, I learned about self-awareness at probably the lowest point in my life, but it changed my life forever. I learned to stop worrying about what others think about me. What other people think of you is none of your business. Be the best version of yourself. If you can do this, you'll find happiness waiting for you on the other side. The amazing thing about awareness is that it can be harnessed at any time. The difficult part, however, is that you have to stop, reflect, and decide who you are going to be and what your life is going to look like. The hardest part to this is what I'm about to tell you next. Stop blaming others. When you continue to do this, without realizing it, all you do is give them the power. And even worse, you distance yourself and you don't allow them to be able to reconcile with you, which in the long run could actually make your journey to self-awareness much easier. Now, whether you're spiritual or not, I believe that everybody believes that they have some sense of purpose. If our Creator made such beautiful things like mountains, valleys, and rivers, then I believe that every single one of us was beautifully and wonderfully made and serve a specific purpose in our lives. So I know that this part is going to contradict what I said earlier about not caring what people think, but hear me out on this one. Ask a few of the closest people in your life. Maybe it's friends, family, a young child. Young children are the best because they will give you the harshest truth without even realize that they're doing it. Ask them what your best qualities are and what your worst qualities are. Ask them things that you're good at. What are things that you lack in? This is a good way to start some good criticism and a really good way for you to at least start your journey to self-awareness. When many of us go through problems in life, we begin hoping, praying, and asking all types of questions. We naturally start to ask, why me? This leads you down a rabbit hole of questions and false answers, likely driving you further and further into bad outcomes in your mind. Instead, I challenge you to ask, what? What can I do to approach this in a positive way? What can I do differently? What can I do to change or fix this situation? Ask what, instead of why. Because thinking is not knowing. And thinking about negative outcomes does not take you to positive action. This is just a small stepping stone to your self-awareness journey. Like most good things in life, self-awareness is never finished. You must reflect often and honestly, and then act upon it. If there is one takeaway that I want you to get out of all of this, it's to be yourself. Be the person that you are when you're around close family. The love, the comfort that they bring you, that feeling, and when they bring out that outgoing person in you, they bring out the fun in you, that's who you are. So be that person, do your best to be that person each and every day. Share that person with the world, because that's who you are, and that is special. All right, guys, well, at this time, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and I hope you all do the same. Until next time. If you happen to like this video, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more weekly drops. And if you have any feedback or you want to hear about a certain topic, please feel free to go ahead and comment in the section right below. And I'll be sure to personally get back to every single one of you guys and try to bring on the suggested content if possible. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all.